street in Bradford, lined with unassuming offices, might seem to house small businesses. But there is one address where dozens of trucks pass silently every day, delivering bulging gym bags, odorless pizza boxes, unmarked parcels. Inside there are no goods, nor weapons. There is cash, piled high, too high to count. Staff work in shifts, no one sees anyone. No one asks questions. The walls are soundproof. Internal cameras record no images. It all operates as if following a meticulously planned ritual. There is no bloodshed, no shouting, but slowly, day by day, millions of pounds are legalized, flowing through the system like invisible water. The problem is, no one knows. And when the truth is revealed, the financial and legal authorities are not just stunned, they are shocked. Because what was being transported was not just money, but evidence of the most perfect money laundering drama Britain has ever witnessed. If you want to discover the whole picture of crime behind that silent door, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any secrets from us. From the outside, Fowler Oldfield looked unremarkable, a modest metalworking business in the heart of Bradford, with the appearance of a family business that had been around for decades. But inside its old walls, a sophisticated financial drama was being played out, with characters who seemed unlikely to be involved in crime. Gregory Frankel, a suave communicator, walked into the office in a sharp suit and a professional smile. Harun Harry Rashid, who had run a small gold company, spoke of prestige and tradition, making any dealings with him seem entirely trustworthy. Daniel Rawson, quiet and reserved, described as a model accountant, and Arjun Babur, younger, agile, ambitious, the poster boy for a new breed of businessman. None of them had a criminal record. None had ever come under the police's suspicion. They joined industry associations, had extensive business networks, and were invited to major trade events. Every paper, every transaction, every balance sheet was prepared like a textbook. It was this impeccable business veneer that allowed them to operate for years without question. But while people saw only shiny gold bars and freshly printed contracts, the truth was, Fowler Oldfield was not just trading precious metals. They were turning dirty money into clean gold, brazenly and terrifyingly invisible. Around 2014, as the high streets of Manchester, London, and Birmingham were awash with cash from drug deals, criminal organizations faced a familiar but increasingly urgent problem. How to turn that dirty money into clean, untraceable assets? The answer lay not in banks or anonymous accounts, but in something more old-fashioned: gold. Unnumbered, unsecured, and easy to melt. Gold was the perfect medium for hiding black money. And then came the link in Bradford: Fowler Oldfield, a precious metals business, well known in the local jewelry world, with an international network and full licenses. For financial criminals, Fowler Oldfield was nothing more than an open door. Cash was transferred, gold scrap was bought, melted down, recast, and then exported with meticulously detailed legal invoices. No one expected that, in those seemingly harmless transactions, there existed an unprecedented money laundering mechanism, initiated by the greed and cunning of those who knew how to bypass every loophole in the system. No one paid any attention to the frequency with which trucks stopped at Fowler Oldfield's doors. They arrived early in the morning, midday, or late at night, each time carrying bulging sports bags, discreet pizza boxes, or laden suitcases. No names, no receipts, but always delivered to their hands. Every day, more than 1.7 million pounds in cash quietly passed through those inconspicuous doors. In less than 2 years, the total had reached nearly 266 million pounds, a figure that would make any central bank pay attention. But here, no one spoke. The money wasn't just stored, it was transformed. In the workshop, sacks of gold dust were weighed, melted, and recast into bars or granules. Their shape changed, but their value did not. The bars were then legally exported out of Britain, mainly to Dubai, where they were traded as clean assets. All had proper documentation, invoices forged down to the last penny, matching seemingly innocent bank transactions. To legitimize the money, the operations team used more than 50 different bank accounts, ranging from small branches to large international banks, all fooled by the fragmentation, rotation, and absolute rationalization of transactions. The same person never deposited money 2 days in a row. No one in the warehouse worked 2 consecutive shifts. Each invoice for buying gold from an outside supplier was cleverly forged, printed on barcoded paper, stamped with the company's seal, complete with contact information, but it was all smoke and mirrors. The operation was run like an industrial assembly line. There were people collecting money, people counting money, people buying gold, people coordinating paperwork, and a team in charge of shipping. They didn't need to meet, didn't need to know each other's names, just that everything was on schedule, in the right amounts, and in the right order. Some drivers are constantly changing, warehouse workers are hired seasonally, and no one stays longer than 3 months. These couriers are sometimes students working part-time, sometimes homeless people hired for cash. No one asks questions because they don't know what they're delivering. In some cases, the money is disguised in fast food containers, birthday wrapping paper, even pet cages. All are chosen for one reason: no one suspects. Even when the cash is too much for the counting machines to handle, they keep going. Because the machine can't stop, a day late, a wrong invoice, a delayed shipment can cause everything to collapse. But for nearly 2 years, it has been running smoothly. Not a single suspicious report, not a single bank employee who raised the alarm, not a single surprise audit. Until a seemingly innocuous detail, a money transfer that was sent to the same address multiple times a week, caught the eye of financial investigators. And that's when the first gears started to fall into place. But by then, Fowler Oldfield was already one of the biggest shadowy gold manufacturers Britain had ever produced. In late 2016, a cash transfer company began to sense something was amiss. Among the thousands of transactions it handled each month, one client made them take a step back and take a closer look: Fowler Oldfield. Not because of strange behavior or payment problems, but simply because there was too much money. Millions of pounds worth of cash were being transferred to a single address with unusual frequency. Instead of being sent to a central vault or a major bank, the money was being sent to a small precious metals company, not one of the typical gold mining clients. A report was sent to West Yorkshire Police, and a quiet investigation began. For the next 8 years, not a word was leaked to the public. But inside, investigators were working like code breakers. They accessed every invoice, every gold purchase order, every bank transaction, even every CCTV tape recording the trucks entering and leaving, the delivery man walking through the door. Nearly 8,000 hours of surveillance video were rewound. More than 50 bank accounts from individuals to businesses were closely examined. A huge financial network began to emerge. Not like a gang tree, but like a multi-layered spider web, hidden behind the shell of legitimate businesses. Investigators found a recurring feature: gold purchase invoices from fictitious suppliers, printed elaborately but with the same template and tone. Internal emails used vague language, but enough to direct each gold batch, each shipment. No calls were recorded, no explicit messages. Everything was coded in business language. Documents were shredded, data was erased, but data recovery technology did the rest. A hallway camera showed a driver returning to make more than 3 deliveries in a week, a violation of the secret organization's strict no-repeats rule. From there, the chain was connected. One by one, they were identified. Who handled the money? Who bought the gold? Who ran the intermediary accounts? Who was the ultimate ringleader? A financial investigation on the scale of a terrorist attack. But this time, there was no blood, just money, lots of it. And it all started with a seemingly simple question. Why did a small company need hundreds of millions of pounds in cash in less than 2 years? Unlike traditional drug cartels with a powerful boss operating from the shadows, the network behind Fowler Oldfield operated like an invisible mechanism, with no clear center, no single leader, but each link operated with terrifying precision. It was a headless model where power was fragmented, roles were divided so that no one knew too much about the big picture. Some people were just collecting money, delivery men who quietly arrived on time, on the right route, no questions asked, no answers answered. Some were in charge of buying gold from small sources, then taking it back to be recycled. Others were in charge of coordinating the paperwork. Invoices were created every day, matching each number to the amount of gold coming in and out. The couriers never worked 2 consecutive shifts. The money counters changed every week. Anyone who was involved in any one link for too long was replaced. It was this constant shuffling of personnel that made any tracing that much more difficult. The system operates like a living machine, leaderless, nameless. It is all programmed to avoid banks, avoid tax authorities, and most importantly, avoid suspicion. By dividing roles, obscuring traces, they have created a financial network so sophisticated that it seems non-existent until the truth begins to emerge from each seemingly innocuous number. After years of quiet investigation, thousands of hours of data analysis and covert surveillance, the siege was finally closed. Not with gunfire, not with a thrilling manhunt, but with a blow to the system, the banks. In 2021, NatWest, one of Britain's largest banks, was fined £265 million for failing to properly monitor suspicious transactions involving Fowler Oldfield. It was the first time in Britain that a commercial bank had been criminally prosecuted for money laundering. But the case is far from over, because it's not just the money that the police are after, it's the people behind it. In 2023, a months-long trial began at Leeds Crown Court, drawing media attention across Europe. One by one, the evidence, from CCTV footage, encrypted emails, bank statements, and witness statements, was pieced together to reconstruct the most sophisticated money laundering mechanism ever. The court sentenced Gregory Frankel, the alleged financial mastermind, to 11 years and 8 months in prison. Daniel Rawson, who was in charge of internal operations, received 10 years and 10 months. Harun Rashid, who facilitated the clean gold transactions, was jailed for 10 years. And the youngest, Arjun Babur, who played a role in coordinating and consolidating the goods, was sentenced to 11 years. These sentences were seen as a deterrent to other financial institutions, a reminder that, in the digital age, no transaction is untraceable. However, one controversial figure in particular divided opinion: James Stunt, the luxury entrepreneur and former son-in-law of F1 tycoon Bernie Ecclestone. Appearing in court with a strong team of lawyers and a calm demeanor, Stunt was accused of participating in the output of the laundered gold, specifically through his own company, which specialized in exporting gold to the Middle East. But unlike the other 4 defendants, Stunt refused to plead guilty, repeatedly denying all charges and claiming that he was simply a victim of misunderstanding in a chaotic business environment. The debate was fierce. Some argued that he was a key link in the consumption of the laundered gold. Others felt that the evidence was not clear enough. In the end, the court acquitted James Stunt, citing a lack of clear and direct criminal intent. The decision caused a wave of backlash, both among the legal community and the public. Yet the case has left a lasting mark on British financial justice history. There was no blood, no guns, just numbers, invoices, and a criminal network operating flawlessly in the shadows. This was not a case of bloodshed or gunshots in the middle of the night, but it left deep cracks in society. Trust in the banking system was shaken, financial regulators faced a series of unanswered questions, reputations were tarnished, vulnerabilities were exposed, and those who had once confidently hidden behind the facade of businessmen were now in the dock. Their families, who had nothing to do with the conspiracy, now had to bear the cold stares of the community. But what shocked many people most was not the £266 million, but the lingering question: was this just a rare case that was discovered? And how many other networks were still operating quietly without anyone knowing? Leave a comment below the video, share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, where we shine light into the dark corners that seem untouchable.